Yo, what's up Minecraft? Today I've got another automatic bedrock breaker for 1.16 plus. I designed this one after someone requested an updated world download for my old one, and since my old design wasn't very good and I've gotten a lot better since then, I decided to just design a new one. I made one that uses TNT duping and one that doesn't for whoever wants it. The command blocks here are just to continue the TNT and piston lines for testing purposes. Obviously, you'd build that yourself if you're making this in survival. This design consists of only 219 blocks, plus one TNT and one piston for each bedrock broken. In order to break through multiple layers of bedrock, though, you're going to need to make sure to break enough extra bedrock in order to fit the machine on the next layer. And so that's what these buffer numbers here are for. So if you wanted to make a 128 by 128 hole through 5 layers of bedrock, then for each additional layer before the last one, you need to add the buffer on all sides, which ends up adding up to removing 200 by 148 bedrock from the first layer of bedrock that you break. Which it's quite a lot, but it's a lot less than my previous design. The machine is north-south directional, so it can only move this way or this way. You can mirror it left to right, front to back, but you just can't run it east or west. But the important thing about this design, which uses the line of TNT, is that it is TNT and piston efficient. This means if there's ever a hole in the bedrock, you can leave out the TNT and the pistons in order for it to just pass over that hole in the bedrock without wasting any resources. And this is important because TNT is made from sand, which is non-renewable. So if you're not duping TNT, then you're going to want to save on it in order to avoid having to continually dig out further and further away deserts. Although this does come with some drawbacks, which is that you will need to only place the piston and TNT where the bedrock is, which means you have to go and check manually where there's a hole in the bedrock and where there isn't in order to place it only where it needs to go. You can use a flying machine like this to help you, where you ride along in the minecart and it uses a piston that's being pulsed by an observer to check if there is a hole in the bedrock or not. And the way I have it set up here, if there is, then it pushes the pistons that you place off to the side, and then that way you would go in after the fact and just remove all the ones where there was a hole where it got pushed off to the side. And then you'd go in and either use a similar machine to then place in the TNT, or what you can do for simplicity is just go along and place TNT on top of all of these pistons, because you already know that this slice here corresponds to an area where there is bedrock, and use a flying machine like this that is just a bunch of modules to just pull it along to the side and then push it up to the height where it's supposed to be at. Alternatively, what you can do is, starting from the first bedrock that you are going to remove, you can pillar up to the height at which you're supposed to place the TNT. In this case, it's Y15. And place your first TNT there. And then as you bridge along, whenever there is no bedrock at the height which you're breaking it, in this case, you can see it easily because there's a hole to the void, but otherwise you can use your F3 menu, the targeted block option on the right side of the screen, and check the Y coordinate to see if there is a block at that height. And if there is not, you place a leaf block and just bridge along. And if there is, you place TNT. It's important for there to be a leaf block after any TNT, because the way the machine works here it relies on the TNT falling down onto this ledge, and if there's no block in front of it, it can hop forwards and land on this ledge and then be held too long and explode, blowing up the machine. There only needs to be one block, but it's just very convenient if you can just keep bridging along like this. So that's the way I'd recommend, rather than building a giant flying machine to do it. And as you can see here, I've made a hole in the bedrock for testing purposes, so that I also left out the pistons and the TNT so we can see it in action. So to start it up, you just hit this no block here. And as it moves along, we'll see how no TNT is exploding now. It continues on just fine. And let's just go under the bedrock here to see. As you see, it's already cleared that 3 long gap that I made and is continuing to run without issue. As for the TNT duping version, there isn't much to show with it, other than the piston efficient module is not present in it because the duper continuously produces TNT. And in order for it to reset properly, it needs to either have both a TNT and a piston or neither. So the duper ensures there's always TNT unless I made some other complex module on top of that. So since pistons are renewable, I just decided it doesn't really matter that much. Anyway, that's it for today. If you're interested, there will be a world download in the description. If you'd like to support me, I have a link to my Patreon and some crypto addresses in the description as well if you want to spot me some Dogecoin. Anyway, thank you all for watching. God bless you all, and I'll see you next time.